Hello, everybody. Kim here. Today I want to talk about what's a good way to put it? What is going on with some of the LDS church members? There's links between all of them, and they're doing some really scary things. And now when I say there's links between them, there are links that tie Tim Ballard, Chad and Lori Daybell, Jody Hildebrandt, Thom Harrison, and some others all together. And they're actually referred to as neo-fundamentalist prepping Mormons, I think is how they put it. But I know that's the neo-fundamentalist is in there. These are people who believe truly that the second coming of Christ is here. It's upon us. And that they have to create Zion in Canada to be prepared for Christ's coming. And they believe in light people and dark people. And these are light not as in the color of their skin, but the color of the light of their soul. Like the dark, the people with the dark have demons in them. Lori Vallow Daybell's children, Tylee and JJ, were supposedly killed because they had turned dark. And that's why they killed them. Which is a really sad thing. And then we had another mother, Spring Thibodeau, that her brother, her daughter, kidnapped her 16-year-old son Blaze and took him to Canada. Luckily, he was reported missing on October 23rd. And they found him on the border of Alaska and Canada on October 27th. Totally safe. He was he's like a 6'4", 16-year-old boy. So size-wise, he was able to take care of himself. And he, played football and all this other stuff. But they kidnapped him. Part of their belief was that he was the chosen one. That there was a Davidical prophecy that he was the chosen one that would bring the second coming of Christ to be. Now, the scary thing is Chad Daybell claimed that Davidical prophecy. So did Tim Ballard. They all claimed that Davidical prophecy. And one of the links is they were all involved in Visions of Glory, which, the book says it was written by John Pontius. He was a ghostwriter. The book was by Thom Harrison, who, if you've read the book, he was Spencer that supposedly had the near-death experience. And now he can't come out and say it because the LDS church got after him for spreading that. And so if you talk to him about it, he will just send you a copy of the letter where he promised to never talk about it again, this and that. And it's scary that Jody Hildebrandt was involved in it. They're also involved in preparing a people, which I heard is no longer called preparing a people because of the closeness they had with the Chad Daybell. He would go and speak at the conferences, so they kind of changed the name to step away from him. And then there's a vow, another word of warning, which is a prepping website, and they're about near-death experiences and visions. the prepping. They talk about portals. They talk about the light and the dark. I mean, all these people, if you ask me, and I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just looking at everything and I'm thinking, these people have some mental issues. They really have mental issues. You know, and one of the things, and maybe this is just me looking at things and trying to make ties. Ruby Frankie's son, who escaped from Jody Hildebrandt's house, had been tied to a bed using duct tape. And it's, you know, when they found J.J. Vallow's body, he had duct tape on his wrists and ankles. So did they think that Ruby Frankie's son had turned dark, and so they duct taped him to a bed? I'm not saying this is what they believed. I'm just thinking aloud. I'm really nervous. I mean, I realize the mainstream LDS church, they believe in food storage. And that's for, you know, in case something happens and they can't get to a store or they have a financial situation. There's some that believe it's for the second coming, that they need to be ready. But food storage is not a unheard of thing within the LDS church. But where the type of prepping and food storage these people are doing, I mean, they're living in Arizona and they're buying outdoor winter clothing that they don't need for the part of Arizona they live in. They're going out, they're buying camping equipment and this and that. I mean, they're spending large amounts of money on this prepping, which they really think they need it to bring in the second coming of Christ. And you know, the one thing, my understanding is when the second coming of Christ happens, if you're one of the people who not has been chosen but has earned, you believe in Christ, you believe in God, you don't deny them, you believe in the virgin birth, Jesus was crucified on a cross, died and rose on the third day, you know, you're going to heaven. You will be taken up in the rapture. You don't need to have food storage for that. So what's going on with these people and the similarities between, I mean, we're going to get deeper into some of the similarities between Chad Daybell and Tim Ballard tomorrow in my video when I go over the statements that the plaintiffs have made in the civil lawsuits against him. There are a lot of similarities that are very scary. You know, it really bothers me. And I know there's other people that people know about as far as the vow and preparing a people and eternal core. You know, it really scares me, you know, and I've pieced all this stuff together. I've read East Idaho News articles. I've looked at KSL articles. I've watched hidden true crime videos. I've watched Mormon stories and Mormon discussions. And I mean, there's just people putting things together. And so I'm like, you know, for those of who don't know about all of these things, now when I say neo-fundamentalists, they're still mainstream LDS. They're not the fundamentalists like we have in Short Creek that believe in polygamy and all that. We're not talking about those fundamentalists. These are true believing Mormons who, you know, who believe there's more to it, that the end of the earth is coming. In fact, the Eternal Core, where Jody Hildebrandt has spoken, and then after, you know, and she met with Thom Harrison, and after they met, yeah, and Thom Harrison's whole reason for starting the Eternal Core was to bring God back into psychology, you know, in psychological treatment. And these people, I think, are maybe taking it a little too far. They need more than bringing God back into it, because they're developing scrupulosity, and they're also way out there, if you ask me. But like I said, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just, you know, my take on it. But that's what I have today for the links between Tim Ballard, Chad Daybell, Lori Hildebrandt, Julie Rowe, and some others. So like, share, subscribe this video. Leave me a comment as far as what you think. If you know, I know a lot of people really like the book Visions of Glory, and that's great that you like it. There's just some people are taking that book way too far, and way too seriously. So yeah, let me know what you think, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.